Hello and welcome back to yet another geek show where we just Liam Neeson to giant sex trade. I'm your host, Alex Ecker.
I'm your host, Dalton Munnell, and Josh has no context for that joke. Because he doesn't listen to our show.
Josh is back, guys.
You guys told me not to listen to that episode, and I followed directions.
Oh, shit. I have to say, man, we were really having a hard time without you here.
Well, everybody's third favorite Yet Another Geek Show host is finally back on the scene, so we can finally reach the level of quality we've always been known for.
Yeah, while you were gone, we heard a little whisper of a voice going, "Hi, I'm Josh."
Wow, that's a spot-on impression of me, Alex.
Right.
That's how I remember you sounding 2 weekly episodes ago.
That's how I remember me sounding right now.
Right.
So, Josh, I hope you've got some stuff to talk about from the last 3 weeks.
I've got some stuff here and there.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's start with that. Give me something.
Cool. So, I haven't finished this yet, but I'm enjoying it so much that I kind of want to talk about it anyway. Has anybody been watching Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix?
Oh, okay.
Go on.
No? Okay. I'd really highly recommend this. Love, Death, and Robots is this sci-fi anthology series that's on Netflix right now. There are a bunch of little shorts. Most of them are like 4 to 5 minutes long. Some
like
of them
booty shorts?
Huh?
Like booty shorts?
Exactly like
Well,
booty
you should
shorts.
mention that.
Exactly
Daisy
like
Dukes.
booty shorts, Dalton. There actually is a lot of booty in these shorts, but I'll get to that. No, legitimately, there is a surprising amount of nudity in these episodes.
My wife has watched the first episode. She's told me all about it, man.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, most episodes are like 15, 20 minutes long, maybe. Each episode is, I think, by a different team of animators because they're all animated in a different style, and they're these little, like, self-contained sci-fi stories. And I've only seen about half of them so far, which is fine because none of them are related to each other, so I can just talk about some of the ones that I've seen already. My favorite one was, I think, I'm looking at the episode list, it was the 4th episode. It's called Suits, and it's a short about a bunch of people that live on, like, farms that get attacked by these alien bugs periodically, so all the farmers leap into these mech suits that they, like, constantly are building and upgrading in their farms to, like, defend the town from these bugs. And I got really big, like, Starship Troopers or even like StarCraft vibes from like specifically like StarCraft, like Terran vibes from this one short, and it was just really fun to watch. But yeah, a lot of them have maybe a little bit too much gratuitous nudity for me. I don't know if it's like just kind of like everyone's just trying to be edgy and cyberpunk, so here's naked people. But yeah, it's there. It's not. It doesn't take away from the show to the point that I would not recommend watching it, but it also doesn't necessarily add to it either. So I could give or take its inclusion. Some of the episodes are hilarious. There's one about 3 robots that are like visiting post-apocalyptic Earth as like a tourist destination, and they're just like wandering around and looking in like ruined gyms at like a basketball and trying to imagine what ancient humans did with this basketball, and they put this ball up their butt. Basically, yeah, they're trying to figure out how cats work.
Because it is a fun thought, because I have a lot of skepticism over like how we interpret the ancient things we find, just given like how spot on can we really get it? Like maybe we're right most of the time, but there's got to be a lot of instances where like maybe we interpreted something as being like Egyptian mythology, but really just like some kid had a short writing exercise in school.
Right? I really want to know how many pieces of like ancient culture we've internalized as being really important to these like ancient societies that in reality were just fucking memes, like ancient memes.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Interesting. So,
like maybe Anubis was the grumpy cat of ancient Egypt, and we all think that they worshipped him, but he was actually just like some kind of shitty meme that everyone joked
he
about.
does come off as grumpy, doesn't he?
He does.
They built the Sphinx just to like memorialize him, be like, look at this fucking douchebag every time they walk past it. Like, can't believe we spent all of our time doing this with our tax money. And
Yeah,
Slave
or they
money.
intentionally poured a bunch of money into something stupid. It's like when someone goes on Kickstarter and they're like, get me $10,000 and I'll make myself a sandwich. And people do it. Like maybe it was like that.
Yeah, the infamous potato salad Kickstarter, which raised like 50 grand, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's something I haven't heard about, but I want to know about it.
Look that up at some point. This guy, I think, single-handedly caused Kickstarter to have to rewrite their rules as to what you could actually kickstart on the platform. He literally just had a Kickstarter for potato salad, and the description of this was like, I'm going to make some potato salad, and if you donate like $500, I'll send you some. And for whatever reason, he raised an absolute crap ton of money. Let me see if I can potato salad Kickstarter.
yeah. So while you're looking for details, my wife actually just watched this whole show without me while I was on a work trip. And so I don't know how I'm going to watch it now, considering we do all our TV watching together and I've been betrayed.
Well, Dalton, my wife started watching it. She only got through the first episode, so I feel betrayed. Maybe we could just watch it together.
Yeah.
You guys should.
Yeah.
It's really good. I want to finish it as soon as I get some more free time.
Yeah. Noted.
Oh, yeah. That'd be
And I
a lot
was
of fun.
correct. This guy raised $55,000 to make potato salad on Kickstarter.
It better have
Almost
been a good
7,000 people donated money to make this happen.
Oh, wow.
So Josh,
Man.
this show is there some kind of like thematic connecting thread as to why all these short stories are part of one collection? Some rhyme or reason to why they're
Love,
together?
Death, and Robots, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Most of them are related to robots or robotics in some way, although some of them aren't. There's one where a sentient yogurt takes over the world, and that was really weird. That was also probably my
Why
second
wasn't
favorite
that just
one
a full movie?
Right.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted more of that, but
I'd kickstart that.
Yeah. $500 an episode.
Well, I won't say too much else about this because you both seem pretty interested in it, but I definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
definitely. We'll watch it together, Dalton.
All right. In the meantime, Alex, what do you got?
Well, I don't know if any of my personal friends watch this, but they know that I'm the biggest Power Ranger nerd in the world. The new game, the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, came out sometime in April. I picked it up, and oof, I have some mixed feelings about it, man.
Oh no.
I love it, but at the same time, I wish there was more. Okay, I'll go into a little more depth with it though. The game, there's a Power Rangers game on mobile that a lot of people were afraid it was going to seem like. I think it's like Power Rangers Legacy. It's kind of like a rock paper scissors mixed with Street Fighter.
That sounds terrible.
It's a good time waster. I'll admit that I spent some time with it. I never spent money on it. At least I don't remember doing that. But anyways, this game, it looked like it at first and people were freaking out. They were thinking, oh no, it's going to be exactly like this game. And they're just going to make us pay like 20 or 30 bucks for it. The good news is that it's not like that at all. There's actual like movement and fighting mechanics and stuff, but it's not much different. Like it sucks in the regard that like there's not a lot of like specialized moves to the characters. Like, yeah, they use their weapons, but that's about it. There's no like signature moves that they used in the show. Like the Green Ranger loved his triple jump kick, you know, and there's a move that's kind of close to it, but it's just a kick that he just does twice in a row. You know what I mean? I wish the combos were a little bit better. It's the biggest thing though, is there's no story mode. And that really kind of upset me because it's an online fighting game is basically what it is. You can play, you know, on one screen with another person, but it's primarily a fighting game for like ranked matches and casual matches. And it's a little disheartening to see that they're including all different types of Rangers from different series. It's not just the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like right now they have a character from Galaxy, Power Rangers SPD, the new like Ninja Steel series, I think it was. They have like Lord Draken in there and the Ranger Slayer from the comic books, which really makes me happy because those two characters are sweet. But the thing is like it needs a little more polish. Like there needs to be a story. Some of the things need to flow a little better as far as the combat goes. I mean, I still love it. It's a lot of fun, but if there was more, I would be more invested in playing it. You know what I mean? Like it's a simple.
That's really frustrating to hear because like I'm someone that I won't buy or start anything really that relies entirely on multiplayer, and I've probably played 25 hours of Smash Bros. Ultimate at this point, and 24 and a half of those hours have been the never-ending single-player content.
Right. Well, the other thing too here, man, that makes me a little more frustrated is they have an arcade mode. And usually with these games, they'll give like a brief story for each character and the reason that they have to go through this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not at all. There's nothing here for it. And it's really disheartening because they have so much content. Because like the Green Ranger's in this game, he's my favorite person in the world. Well, aside from my wife, honey, if you're watching this, I love you. But I mean, I was a Power Rangers fan before I knew you even existed. So
I like the idea that she watches this. Like she opens this up on SoundCloud, and while she's listening to it, she just watches the phone screen. Just
knowing
watches
her, she
the
probably would.
move.
She does listen to it, though, which is awesome.
You can look at the spikes of activity and just anticipate when things are about to get crazy. Like probably right there when I just did that, it probably got crazy.
Yeah.
That was probably visible. You could anticipate it and be like, ooh, what's this crazy guy going to say?
But
keep our listeners on their toes.
Back to my thing here. The thing is like there's like one line of dialogue between like you and the last boss, and that's the only thing that's kind of specific to each like story mode. It's super frustrating in that regard because like the Green Ranger has like the last boss is Goldar, so like it's not Goldar yelling like I'm gonna steal your coin and like showing an animation if you lose and him taking the coin, or you know what I mean. It's there's one line of dialogue after the fight and then it takes you back to the main menu immediately.
Yeah,
sounds like they kind of just phoned the game in.
That is pretty lazy.
Yeah. I still love it because even though the combat is not super polished or anything, it reminds me of the Power Rangers game for the Sega Genesis that you and I played through on our Let's Play series, Dalton.
Yeah, speaking of which, we're definitely going to Let's Play this, so let's get back more to it then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that.
I used to have a Power Rangers game for the Super Nintendo that it was like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, kind of like a Streets of Rage type game. I don't remember. That game was the shit. I loved that game. Well, like 6-year-old me loved that game. I don't know if it's actually the shit, but it was the shit to child Josh.
I played that one a few years ago. It holds up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta track that one
loves,
down.
Loves that game, man.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Oh, I have things. To talk about, guys. I did things.
Wow.
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot one because I did it for
That's
like an hour and then I don't care anymore. I don't know why I ever developed the slightest bit of excitement and intrigue into this, but the Elder Scrolls Blades.
Yeah, I've been playing it too.
Well, no, you can't say two because that implies I am still playing it, and I am not. I played it for 2 hours the day it launched in early access, and I'm done because even though, like, for a mobile game, it's well done, it's still full of all the mobile game cancer that I've whined about repeatedly on this show before.
And it's not even finished.
Right. And so they, like, if you're not familiar with the idea of this game, this is a game. The interesting thing that was exciting to me was that this game, when it's completed, will supposedly be available on pretty much every platform.
And every medium.
Free for every platform. And so that's including VR platforms. So we're talking iOS, Android, PS4, Xbox One, PC, any PC VR headset, Gear VR, whatever. It's supposed to be on everything. And that's just the idea is interesting to me, to have a game that, like, you can get hooked on and then literally pick up and continue your progress on anything, including a VR headset. That idea is fascinating to me. And the execution, they've only put out the iOS and Android versions so far. And the execution's not bad. I found it surprisingly playable on a touchscreen, and there is a surprising amount of effort put into, like, the graphics and voiceover and putting the slightest resemblance of a plot into side quests and everything. Like, I could potentially see having quite a bit of fun with it, but you just very quickly fall into all the mobile game cancer, all the pay to win nonsense, all the give us real money so you can unlock the chests that you've already earned by yourself doing the missions in the game.
Yep, that's where I took one look at the monetization for this game and ran into that exact fact and immediately wrote Blades off. I'm not even going to bother trying it.
And I knew it was going to be like that because it was a free game. How could it not be like that? A free game on Android. Right. I don't really know what possessed me to maintain enough interest to try it, but I tried it for a good 2 hours, remembered everything I hate about mobile phone gaming, and I'm done, and I highly do not recommend.
Likewise, I mean, I didn't spend 2 hours in this game. It's been like 5 minutes here and there for the past couple of days, and it's Skyrim light. It's not open world. You click on a quest, it teleports you there. The chests that you get, like, there's your regular chest, which gives you like a 5-second unlock, or you could spend your magical in-game currency to speed it up for 5 seconds, or you can get like the higher up chests that you have to wait 3 fucking hours for those to unlock.
And it turns into days, and then you use that currency you obtain from the chest to build structures and buildings in your village, and those take hours to build. And so it's just a nonstop give us microtransactions to allow yourself to actually continue playing the damn game.
Okay, well, I have something else to talk about.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so I was looking for something kind of small to play recently because I was caught up in moving, which is why I missed an episode, and also had a business trip, which is why I missed another episode. And while moving, I got hit in the head and had to spend a lot of time in bed because I have a concussion. So anyway,
you mean the sex trade?
Yeah, it's been. Wait, what? I think I said yeah to something I shouldn't have there.
I mean, you just don't remember it because of the concussion. It's fine. We helped out. You're back now. It's
all
good.
Right, well, thanks.
You're welcome.
I feel like this is all tying back into the episode that I wasn't supposed to listen to, that I'm thinking I might go listen to now.
Several episodes. You don't remember any of them.
It's fine. Anyway, so what I have played recently is this it's this pretty old indie RPG by the name of Off. So this is a game that came out. This game was released, I think, back in like 2007, 2008. It's a pretty old game. but it's fairly popular. I think it started kind of a wave of indie RPG development, kind of like how when Cave Story came out in the mid 2000s, that kind of sparked the whole indie platformer genre. And Cave Story, by the way, is a fantastic game that I highly recommend and is also free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. We should spotlight that, actually. The game is fantastic. They have a version on like Steam and other platforms that is a paid game that has like updated graphics and music, but you can download the original game for free directly from the developer, and it's
cool. We will
just
do it.
fantastic.
Awesome.
This game is free as well. Off was made in like an older version of RPG Maker.
Okay.
The reason the game is so, I guess, famous is just it's all about the atmosphere of the game and the way it's presented. It's really quirky. It's probably the first in the wave of like Earthbound inspired, like the game is taking a lot of heavy influences from the Mother series, and that's kind of launched a whole genre of that. You can't really name the genre, but it's like the whole like Mother like games would have an Earthbound vibe. Undertale is a game in this series, and actually Toby Fox has cited Off as an inspiration of his when creating Undertale. Yume Nikki is another really popular game from that era that's Mother influenced. And my favorite indie game of all time is an RPG called Lisa, which is in the same kind of genre.
Josh, we talked about Lisa while you were gone.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, Dalton did. I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to.
Did I tell you to play Lisa, or did you just find it on your own?
Cody told me to play Lisa.
Okay, he did that because of me. Be very interested to pick your brain on that later.
Yeah.
Lisa is my favorite indie game of all time. So basically, this is a very long way of saying that I decided that I owed it to myself to kind of go back and play sort of not like the grandfather of this genre, because that would be Earthbound, but sort of one of the indie games that kind of like a lot of other later games in this series took their inspiration from. And having played games that have iterated on this formula for nigh on a decade now, Off is a little bit rough in comparison, but I really enjoyed it. So it uses the whole RPG trope of you, the player, are a character in the game that's guiding your main avatar, who is his separate character. Off's not the first game to do this. I'm blanking on other games. None of them are coming to mind right now, but I know other games have done that. But basically, you're guiding this character called the Batter, who is literally just a guy in a baseball uniform with a baseball bat. And you're wandering around all of these vaguely named zones, and you're tasked with purifying them. And purifying them basically means wandering around and beating up all the ghosts that are terrorizing everybody. This whole game is really friggin' weird. It's supposed to be kind of unsettling in the way that nothing really makes sense, and even when the characters are talking to you, they're speaking coherent English, but they're maybe conveying like half-formed ideas or things that just kind of have this otherworldly aura about them, to the point that you know what they're saying, but you still don't understand what they mean. And the game's kind of meaningfully incomprehensible like that, which might not be everybody's cup of tea. On the other hand, eat that shit up like crazy. The main four elements in this game are, as everybody knows, metal, smoke, plastic, and meat. Yeah.
That sounded like a Borderlands RPG.
That's the kind of game that this is. I will say, gameplay-wise, it's kind of sparse. It uses the Final Fantasy 4 through 9 kind of like ATB system that I think is built into like RPG Maker. It's a fairly bare bones battle system. The game is pretty easy combat-wise, and the only other thing you're really doing is walking around the overworld and solving puzzles and like talking to NPCs to try to advance the plot and get some sort of understanding of what even is going on in the world that you're supposed to be purifying. I would not say it's worth playing. I would not say it's worth playing from a gameplay perspective, but it's been a very enjoyable experience, and the soundtrack fucking slaps. If you don't want to look at anything else from this game, and you might not, I would recommend just listening to the basic encounter song. If you go onto YouTube and type in the name of the song, which is Pepper Steak, because of course it is, off Pepper Steak, the closest way I can describe this song, which is the random encounter song, is it's basically kind of like a glitchy electro swing tune, and it's so catchy. I've actually been listening to the soundtrack of this game for years before I even played it. It's that good.
Huh. Fascinating. I'll definitely check that out.
That actually kind of brings a question to me.
What's up?
From me to you guys, unless you had something to say, Dalton.
No, go ahead.
Okay. If you were to look up a game soundtrack that you knew from your past and loved, do you still see like images of the game in your head as you listen to certain themes from a game?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because I'm wondering if I were to go and listen to the soundtrack without knowing that you're saying it was a battle theme, if I could figure it out, or it's with a lot of video games, I feel like you need the context for the game's music to have an impact. So I'm actually debating on, as soon as you said that, I'm actually debating on listening to the soundtrack before I start, if I check this game out, and then playing the game to see if I was right and to see if there's going to be any differences in how the music impacts me.
Well, if you really want to do that before playing a game, and I don't know if Dalton's touched on this already, but you should absolutely do it with Lisa.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
And Undertale's soundtrack is dope as hell without context. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've listened to Undertale soundtrack and I haven't gotten through the whole game yet.
Have either of you checked out Deltarune at all yet?
No, I'm not going to touch Deltarune until we're ready to spotlight Undertale, because I've never finished Genocide Run.
Neither have I.
I decided to start over the whole thing on my Switch. So
okay.
I'm in the middle of another pacifist run.
I've heard the Switch version has an additional boss somewhere in the game. So I guess look out for that if that's true.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to go into rant mode.
All right, let's do it.
We post on a weekly basis now, so we can kind of sort of do news, even though our schedule technically means news can come out 2 weeks too late on our show. Whatever.
News flash.
Okay, I'm going to talk about
There's
everything that
another
just
audio
happened
spike.
with Borderlands, because there's good shit and bad shit going on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, first of all, the good shit that I'm going to super praise them for is that
Guns with legs.
Borderlands 3 looks dope, and I love that it appears to include characters from Tales from the Borderlands, which means that's still canon and they still give a shit, and everyone should play that who hasn't. But more importantly, it's so cool that, Josh, I don't know if you know about this, Alex and I have already talked about it quite a bit, but they just remastered the previous 3 main games. And not only that, but they're free upgrades.
I did hear that, yes.
Yeah, and so in the case of the first Borderlands game, well, they all get like big texture and model upgrades. And then in the context of consoles, the PC versions have always had unlocked resolutions, but the consoles will now have them unlocked in 4K. Or locked. Wow, that was not the right terminology. They will be in 4K on consoles now. Always were on PC. The original Borderlands had not yet been released on current gen consoles, so there's no free update there. You have to buy the game because it doesn't already exist. But Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel are free upgrades for everyone. The first Borderlands was a free upgrade on PC, and people that didn't already have the DLC still got it for free with their upgrade. And the first Borderlands game got a bunch of quality of life improvements that were previously only in the later games. So like the first game never had a mini map. That's there now. The first game never had a feature of the later games where walking over ammo automatically picked it up. You had to like really watch for it and press E over every little bundle of ammo. Just a lot of little things like that. And I'm really impressed to see this done for a decade-old game that some of us got for $1 on Humble Bundle. So super kudos for all that. No kudos for releasing it on PC anyway as a 6-month Epic Game Store exclusive.
Oh no, are they doing that?
They sure are. And you know what? People tried to be skeptical and doubt it because they announced that on April Fool's Day.
Oh.
I think the biggest joke is that they're just ruining their company now.
And it's So I want to praise, like, I don't know who's responsible here, like Gearbox. Borderlands is Gearbox's baby, and they seem to be doing good stuff, but they're not the publisher here.
2K is, right?
2K is, I believe, the publisher. They're really the ones screwing this up. This would have been their call. And so it's hard to... what do you want to do when you want... You know, how do you support the developer and not the publisher? And anyway, I don't think I need to rant about everything that's wrong with the Epic Game Store, because if you care, you already know. But I personally, despite my love for this franchise, I'm going to wait until the thing's on Steam. I'm not using the Epic Game Store. And there are so many games I'm excited to see on there. A lot of like previously PlayStation exclusive titles that I love, like Journey and Heavy Rain and what was Quantic Dream's game from last year? Detroit, yeah, are all limited time Epic Game Store exclusives. And no, I'm gonna wait that shit out. I'm not excited enough to start using your store, and it is what it is. We've waited long enough for Borderlands 3. I can wait 6 more months. Let's move on to VR Game of the Week.
VR Game of the Week. There you go.
I'm presenting that like it's an official segment, like we organize this show. Josh, last week we had 4 of them.
Well, sounds like we're good for a month. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, you'll see why. I have to do this anyway. My VR game of the week is The Void, Star Wars. There's a longer subtitle in there. I don't remember it. It's in Disney Springs on my work trip. That game.
Oh
fuck that!
I didn't even tell you I got to try it because I was saving it for here.
Dude.
Yeah. Anyway, so my only criticism of it is that it's not long enough. You get excited and comfortable and things are going sweet, and then it's over because, I mean, you know, they can't let you do it forever unless they're only going to run the thing a few times a day. So anyway, so here's kind of the experience is there's... Okay, the terminology among the enthusiasts is that if you're using a headset that lets you walk around a room, we call that room scale VR. That's what plenty of people have at home. But when you're playing in a very large space, relatively uninhibited, they call that warehouse scale. And so that's kind of the idea here, is that it's an experience designed around a specific location. This isn't something you could ever do at home. You have to go to this place and experience this thing. And The Void makes like several VR experiences, and they probably like reuse the same like actual physical area, but just like reskin a new game concept around it. But it's unfortunately, I have to say, the warehouse scale term. Not that Disney or The Void themselves ever used it to my knowledge, but it was not an accurate description of this because it actually took place in very narrow hallways and very small rooms. You definitely were not able to just let loose in a huge room. It's a very small scripted, like 15-minute experience, but the idea here, the idea is an experience and not a game, even though it is interactive. The idea here is, I guess I'll just explain what it's doing that you can't do at home. First of all, are either of you familiar with the Motion Leap?
I am not.
No.
Okay, this is a product. People are speculating it might come with a Valve's headset they're about to announce, but the Motion Leap has been around in the form of like development kits. Maybe it's a finished product that nobody's really using. I don't know, but it's been around since this VR revival, and it's a technology for tracking finger movements, and so it's attached to these headsets, and so you don't need controllers to be tracked. I mean, it tracks your headset movement, and then this Motion Leap tracks your actual hands, and it works that way. First thing you can do here that you can't really do at home is play with several people in the same area, in the same game at the same time. At home, you can do online multiplayer, but here you're all wireless and you all get into this game in the same room together and you actually see each other. Now, because there's no like foot tracking or proper like full body tracking, you can't see your own body in the game because it doesn't want to show you that you're not getting that accurately. It just kind of shows you everyone else's. So you only really have your arms in your own field of view. Whatever, that's not a distraction for me. I'm fine with it. I'd rather have that than an inaccurate body. But there are real items in the physical play space to interact with. So you're in Stormtrooper armor and you grab a blaster and the blaster is just actually there. You're not using a Vive wand to approximately simulate a weapon. You just actually reach out and grab the gun and walk away with it and use it. There's moments where someone tells you, like, you know, pull this lever to open a door. Well, the lever is actually there. And because your fingers are tracked, you can actually see yourself reach out and pull down the real lever. You're told to enter a sequence of buttons to open a door. The buttons are actually there. That's kind of the gist of it. There's other things that like
Please tell me that you got to use a lightsaber.
No, you don't. That's probably way too easy of a way to let people hurt each other. Actually, no. I would assume that, well, that aside, it wouldn't be good for the immersion of what they're going for here, because
I mean, a lightsaber wouldn't really have weight. It's the handle that would have all the weight, so it would still be fine if they could figure out a way to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, the sensation of like, what does touching a saber do? It cuts through something. Well, you can't cut through your friends, so immersion broken. Now, as opposed to that, we grabbed our blasters and we immediately shot each other, and oh, you're wearing vests and you can feel it. So as far as I can tell, like the PC actually running the game, I believe it's in a backpack on the vest you're wearing. And then the vest also has little vibrating motors all over it for the sensation of getting hit. So that's the level of detail they're getting into. There's also a point where a little like droid, you know, is in a room. And I went, wait a minute, is that there? And I reached out and touched it. And yes, it was absolutely there. You're on Mustafar, and there's points where you can feel heat getting blasted at you.
Oh, that sounds so friggin' cool.
Yeah. The headset itself is, it was really comfortable to put on, but also like, I can tell that they went for like a kind of comfort that works in the context that you're only playing this for 15 minutes because the setup is heavy. It's just that like, the foam and the balance and everything feels okay, but it's definitely heavy and not something like suited for home use. And they kind of like, you can tell they're working around your limitations. They know they have to put this heavy backpack on your back, and they know this headset's going to be kind of heavy. And so screw it. You're a stormtrooper. It makes sense. You're in armor. Now it's immersive instead of being a limitation. As for the specs, I've never seen what they are for the Void, but I can tell you the resolution was a great deal better than my Vive. I don't know if it's better than what's come out since. I know there are headsets now, including yours, with a better resolution than the Vive. And so I don't know if this is comparable to those or maybe it's better. But I'd be really happy if I had a headset with whatever this resolution is. Actually, I'm going to look it up.
Oh man. So this whole thing is not just okay, there's objects that you can pick up and physically see. There is actual things in your atmosphere that are affecting you, like heat and like cold weather, right?
Yeah, although because it is a really short experience, I've basically explained every little neat thing there is. So don't let your imagination go too much further than what I've already described. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not. But man, does that sound so much fun, even if it's only like a 15-minute game?
Yeah, it's totally worth doing. I'm super stoked that I did it.
Worth the plane ticket?
Not worth a plane ticket. But worth checking out if you're already in the area. Yeah. According to Wikipedia, their headset is called Rapture, and it says per eye 2K resolution. That doesn't, without exact numbers, that doesn't really mean anything. So I'm going to disregard that because they're not giving me both dimensions. That can't possibly, like 2K is pretty close to 1080p, and that can't be right. This was way better than that. So unless they mean both screens were square, so it's 2000 pixels in both directions, I could imagine that being the case. That would really be more like the quality of 4K. I'm going to say something stupid and inaccurate, so someone's going to call me out on it, so I'm going to stop it there. But yeah. Oh, field of view was way higher than I'm used to seeing in home VR headsets too. But again, that might be comparable to, like, this thing's been around for a few years.
Oh, okay.
So maybe this is comparable to other consumer headsets that I haven't gotten to try yet at this point. And maybe Valve's new headset will knock it out of the park. We'll see. Hey, Editor Dalton from the future here. Unfortunately, due to a technical issue, this episode got cut pretty short. To summarize what you missed, Alex is watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, one of the best animes ever made, and you should too. And I watched a strange movie I loved as a teenager called Party Monster with Macaulay Culkin and Seth Green, and I don't actually recommend it unless you're really curious about how weird it is. So here's an awkward, abrupt ending. That being the case, I'm going to give it the smallest recommend ever. I feel bad going out on this note. Josh, are you sure you have nothing else?
Unfortunately, I am sure.
Oh, man. We had a lot of like jarring interruptions in this one, man.
I have something I'd like to talk about, but not until I finish it.
Sure. Yeah, this will be, or in the case of the audience listening, this has been a nightmare to edit.
But at least we got Josh back.
But that's okay. I'm still...
I mean, it's probably my fault, let's be honest.
I'm still proud of what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we love you for it, Dalton. We really do.
Oh, God. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Man.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.